Welcome in Pesky Pole YouTube channel. We're doing 1980 college football season replay, and we'll have a game as well. But let's kind of take a look real quick. Week one, not really, it's week one, but only a few games. The big game was Arkansas and Texas. Texas with the win 24-3. They kind of pulled away late. Texas 7-5 in the real season. Arkansas was 7-5 as well. So you don't think it's that big of a game, but I like looking at the polls back then in 1980. The preseason polls had Arkansas number six in the country and Texas number 10 in the country, and so it's a pretty big game. Now maybe those teams will play more like the talent they had projected, but that was a big game back in 1980 in terms of the preseason polls. And of course, the polls sometimes in preseason are not really correct. So something to look at there. So that was week one, only big game. Week two, let's kind of go through a little bit here. Now, number one, number two in the country, the preseason poll in 1980 was Alabama was number two, Ohio State number one. Ohio State does not play until week three. Bama played Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, I don't think it was ranked in the preseason poll. Let me make sure and check this real quick. I don't think they were. No, they were not. Okay, and so they won 28-6. They were big favorites. This game was a sloppy rain game in Alabama, and it was 9-6 at the half, and then Alabama pulled away there. So 28-6 there in that one. Um, Florida State LSU 17-3. Florida State gets the win there. Um, in the preseason poll there, Florida State was 13th in the country. LSU was not ranked. So Florida State with that too. And I'm going to use rankings too. Like the ranking here, I don't like using the rankings in the game early on because it's a little bit kind of thing. When we get to what the week eight or so, I'll start using the rankings here. But until then, I'll kind of use the preseason poll as my base, the base off of who does what. Okay, so we'll do that back and forth. Um, Going through here, we have Miami play Louisville. Upset here 9-7. Jim Kelly did not have a great day. He threw a big pick, 7 for 17. He threw a big pick on the 5 yard line, going in for the score um, in that game. So 9-7 there. I don't think mine was ranked. Let me take a look real quick in the first poll. I don't think they were. They were not ranked in the poll. And the Miami in real life that year went 9-3, so they were ranked probably at the end of the year. But that's a tough loss for Miami right there. It'll kind of screw their season up a little bit too. Louisville, not a great team, they lose there. Purdue, Notre Dame. This was a big game, and I almost was going to play this game on the channel because in the 1980 preseason poll, Purdue was ranked number nine in the country. Notre Dame was ranked number 11 in the country, and Notre Dame was to win here 24-3 over a really good Purdue team. And the main thing was Mark Herman, who was, I think, All American that year, had a big year. He was sacked, I believe, 8 times. Let me take a look to make sure. He was sacked 7 times in this game. So 7 times this game. Phil Carter for Notre Dame had a big day of rushing, and it was just the sacks really kind of did Purdue in. And 24-3, so Notre Dame was up there. Penn State, that was 10-2 on the year, and they were ranked in the preseason poll. Let me get this right. Let me find them. Let me find them. They're ranked 18th in the preseason poll. Back then, they only had top 20. Um, and they barely get by Colgate, 17-14 in that game there. Colgate, 5-4-1 of the year. So they barely get by that. Let's see who's on that team. Is that the Ed Marinaro? Is it Ed Marinaro on that team? What am I thinking? What team did Ed Marinaro play for? That wasn't Colgate, was it? So a win there for Penn State. All right. Other big games. My Gamecocks. This is a big year for the Gamecocks. George Rogers, who wins the Heisman Trophy in real life, 1980, and the Gamecocks struggled early on, pulled away late, 28-6. Big George Rogers, 29 carries, 143 yards to the Gamecocks. So they're 1-0, and that's always good. Stanford and Oregon. This is interesting here. Stanford came into this game ranked 15th in the country. Oregon was not ranked, and Oregon just destroyed them. 49-28. That's when Stanford scoring two late touchdowns that were meaningless in this game. It was 49-14 at one point. And of course, Stanford got John Elway, 19 for 31. He threw four touchdown passes. A lot of the touchdown passes were kind of late and meaningless. 35-7 at the half. So Oregon just crushes Stanford, which is interesting. Oregon that year went 6-3-2. Stanford went 6-5. So they kind of had a disappointing year based off their rankings, but they get crushed there in that one. Going down here, and that's kind of the last big game there. So our game today is Georgia versus Tennessee. Georgia, of course, won the national championship in 1980, went undefeated. Tennessee went 5-6 in real life. In the preseason poll, Georgia was ranked 16th in the country. Tennessee was not ranked. So kind of the main players here for the Bulldogs. Take a look here. Buck Belus, their quarterback. Once again, he didn't throw many passes, only 171 attempts in 12 games. 11 TDs, 9 picks. Herschel Walker, 310 carries, 1766. Many felt that he should have won the Heisman Trophy and not George Rogers. So that's kind of that game there. Tennessee, let's see if we recognize any guys on their team. Steve Alator, James Berry, Terry Daniels. Don't recognize those guys at all. Willie Galt. We recognize Willie Galt. Willie Galt with 14 catches in the year for 240. So Willie Galt is a stud. He had three touchdowns on kick returns. Bill Bates also in there. Played for the Cowboys later on. So Reggie White on defense with 2 sacks during the year. You got Bates in there, I mentioned. So a pretty good team, some talent on there. Definitely a team that could pull the upset in the SEC. So on the road, Georgia, Tennessee, we're going to play it. And we're going to play drive by drive. I love playing this way in this game. How I do it is real simple. AI control, AI control. We do it that way. So Georgia 2-point favorite only in this one. Interesting, given the fact that it's a 5-6 team versus 12-0 team. So we'll kick it off here. Georgia gets the ball first. Walker's back deep with Scott Warner. And here is the kickoff. Walker takes it, and he cuts through coverage, and he's tripped up the 32-yard line. So Georgia will take over, and all we do is click here this possession button, okay? And what I usually do in this game is when I play these games out, maybe you'll see it in this game, maybe you won't. If the game is close in the fourth quarter, about 3 minutes to go, I go play by play. All right, so here we go, first possession for the Bulldogs, and they will punt it away. So Willie Galt with a fair catch, so the Tennessee defense holds. Georgia got to the 40-yard line only. Tennessee ball, first quarter. And that pass is picked off by Jeff Hipp um, and brought back. It was a long pass and picked off, and the Bulldogs will take over at their Tennessee 49-yard line. 12:02 first quarter, Georgia ball. And a pass to Lindsey Scott, he will cough it up. So go, Lindsey, go. Makes the catch, fumbles it. Tennessee recovers, and back-to-back turnovers by both teams here. Start this game off here in the opening. Oh, it's week 2, I guess, 1980, but their opening game. And that pass is picked off again by Jeff Hipp, his second pick of the day. Tennessee is at Georgia's 16-yard line, and it was picked off the 1-yard line. So Tennessee was knocking on the door, and they can't get in. And Georgia will take over now at their own 5-yard line. First quarter still. And they'll punt it away again. Willie Galt will fair catch that one. Tennessee with good field position here. 5:06 to go. First quarter. Bulldogs struggling here early on. And a fumble by James Berry. A fumble. So Tennessee has turned this ball over now 3 times already in the first quarter. Cannot hang on to the football. And Georgia ball, first quarter, a sloppy first quarter so far. And there it is. Touchdown to Arnold. Arnold with a catch, a 15-yard pass from Buck Bellew, a 12-play, 53-yard drive. Extra point is good. It is 7-0. Bulldogs lead this one. And Galt will take the ball. Galt is dangerous. And he gets to the 20-yard line. The first quarter will come to a close. Let's take a look at the numbers real quick right now. Buck Bellew, 3 for 7, 32 yards, 1 TD. Herschel Walker, 7 carries, 44 yards, with a long of 12. Alator, 1 for 4, 3 yards. He's been picked off twice. That's the story of the game is turnovers. So Tennessee ball, second quarter. And a 12-yard run for a touchdown by Steve Alator, the quarterback. 5 plays, 80-yard drive. We are tied at 7. So the Tennessee Volunteers with a big drive right there, and they'll kick it away. Back deep is Chuck Jones and Scott Warner. Walker not back there for this one. So Georgia ball, 7-7, 12 minutes to go until halftime. And a punt there into the end zone. Tennessee will get it back. 8:46 to go until halftime. 7-7. And a great SEC duel. And there's a touchdown pass. Steve Alator hits Miller from 13 yards. A 12-play, 80-yard drive. Tennessee now leads it 14-7 with 2:11 to go until the half. The Bulldogs are in trouble. And here comes Warner. He'll take it out. Georgia ball, 2:03 to go until the half. And that's picked off. Bellew was looking for Lindsey Scott. Carlton Peoples picks it off, brings it back 9 yards, and Tennessee is in business at the Georgia 23-yard line with a 1:48 to go until the half. Can they punch it in here before the half? And it's picked off. Alator throws his third pick of the game, his second time in the red zone, and Georgia survives that one. So 14-7 Bulldog ball, 1:38 to go. And Bellew is sacked by Kofor. The ball is fumbled. Tennessee recovers. They've got the ball. The turnovers keep on mounting in this game. Tennessee ball up by 7. And a field goal attempt is good. It is 17-7 Tennessee with 38 seconds to go until the half. The Bulldogs may have their championship run end in week 1, or week 2, I guess is this. And that's picked off. So Bellew picks it off, and that will set up a field goal attempt at the end of the half now. So Buck Bellew, and I don't know why they're not running the ball as much. They must be taking away Walker. We'll take a look at the stats in a while. So here's Tennessee. Alan Duncan, 54 yards out to give Tennessee a 13-point lead to go into halftime. The kick is up. It's good. He nails it, and it's 20-7, and that will end the first half. The Volunteers sprint in the locker room. 20-7. Let's take a look at the stats. Buck Bellew, 3 for 10, 32 yards, 1 TD, 2 pick. Herschel Walker, 8 carries, 50 yards. They got to get the ball to Herschel more. Buck Bellew is not the answer, but now they're at 13. They're in a kind of, a tough situation. Alator, 5 for 9, 73 yards. He's thrown a touchdown pass. He's been picked off 3 times. He's got 7 carries over 46 yards. He's a leading rusher at Tennessee. But the real story in this game is turnovers, 4 apiece. 4 apiece in this one, and the Bulldogs are on the verge of being upset. And they'll kick it off. Tennessee will get the ball to start the half, which is why that field goal is so big. And a touchdown pass. Olszewski comes into the ball game for Alator. I'm not sure. Is he the backup? Quite going to check on that right now. Was it a halfback pass? Olszewski makes it 27-7 Tennessee. The route is on. The Bulldogs are being stunned in the opener. Can they come back? Oh, I had next play. My bad. Well, we're going to see a play. Here's Walker in a run. He cuts the left with 5 yards. I forgot to hit the possession arrow. My bad. And Walker fumbles. Herschel coughs it up, and it's been a nightmare game for the Bulldogs. Greg Gaines of Tennessee picks it up, and Tennessee now up by 20 with the ball, third quarter. And he fumbles. It is a fumble fest. There have been 10 turnovers in this ball game. It has been a sloppy opener for both teams. And Georgia will punt it away. Willie Galt with a fair catch. Tennessee up by 20. Olszewski into the ball game now. We are not sure. If we take a look real quick at the recap, there must be an injury maybe. He might have been benched. No injury, so just a benching. Georgia ball down by 20. And they'll punt it away again. Tennessee's defense has come up big tonight. Jeff Olszewski is the quarterback. He is 4 for 6, 62 yards and a touchdown. In relief for all the Alator. Oh, I hit right next play again. My bad. We'll see a play. Vernon Phillips, play action pass, looking for Galt, and knocked down by Jeff Hitt. A sloppy ball game. And that pass is picked off. Thomas Thurston. It's a turnover extravaganza. 27-7, Georgia ball, third quarter still. And the field goal attempt from Rex Robinson is no good. So 14 seconds to go in the third quarter. And there's a punt. And the fourth quarter has begun now. Let's take a look at the stats real quick. Buck Blue, 5 for 12, 63 yards. Walker, 13 carries, 66 yards. Daniels, 56 yards, 58 yards rushing. Barry, 46 yards rushing. We take a look at the recap right now. There have been 11 turnovers in this ball game. 11 turnovers. I've never seen a turnovers in this game before. If you watch this for the first time, that is not normal for this game. It's not a glitch or it's just one of those crazy games. This is not the norm for sure. Georgia in trouble. They need a huge comeback here. And the field goal attempt is good. So they get a field goal 27-10 now. The problem is 8:18 to go in the game only. No, they do it. It's a long kick. Georgia needs a miracle here. Field goal is good. It's now 30-10, and the Bulldogs are in trouble. It looks like they're going to fall here, barring some kind of miraculous comeback, which I don't see happening. They need 3 touchdowns and 230. And that pass is picked off. So go ahead and stick a stake in the Bulldogs. They lose their opener. They lose their opening game 30-10. They get blown out. Walker gets 101 yards, but a very hollow 101 yards. Tennessee, 424 yards of offense. And they dominate this game. The Bulldogs go down 30-10. That is unbelievable. Unbelievable on that right now. So that will make Ohio State Oh, I mean, already is. Georgia wasn't ranked number one anyways, but Ohio State and Bama are the 1 and 2 teams. If we go into week 3, we'll do a little preview. What are the big games of the week? Looking through um, right here, Texas A&M plays Georgia. That's a pretty good game there. Cal plays Florida. Louisville, who knocked off Miami, will play Florida State. That's an interesting game there. Kansas will play Oregon. Kansas State will play LSU. Some Power Five schools. Michigan will play Northwestern. What did Michigan do in 1980? They were 10-2. So Michigan is definitely a team that can win a national championship. They'll be facing Northwestern. Nebraska goes in action. Of course, Nebraska 1980, they're always up there 10-2. They can definitely be a team that wins the national championship this year. And Ohio State gets their first game of the year ranked number one in the country. They went 9-3 that year. They will take on the Syracuse Orange, went 5-6. That's definitely a game that Joe Morris is there for Syracuse. Ohio State. Who does Ohio State have back in 1980? Art Schlichter. That could be the feature game next week. We'll see. Kentucky, Oklahoma, BC, and Pittsburgh, Purdue, Wisconsin. Right now, I'm leaning for Syracuse, Ohio State on the channel next week. But we will see. Rutgers and Temple. The Gamecocks taking Wichita State. USC and Tennessee. So an interesting game here. Southern Cal 8-2-1 in real life. And of course, they are led by Marcus Allen at the running back spot. Chip Banks on defense. Jeff Fisher. So that could be a game. Tennessee comes to a big win right there. We could have that game on the channel for next week. We'll see. Colorado, UCLA. What was UCLA back in 1980? They were 9-2. Tom Ramsey, Jay Schrader, Freeman McNeil. That's a team with a lot of people we know. See what Colorado was. They were 1-10 that year, so should not be a tough game for UCLA there. We'll see. And that's it. So Syracuse, Ohio State, I think is the best game next week. USC, Tennessee, probably game B. So we're gonna have that for you next week, or next time we do the college football 1980 season. Thanks for watching. Syracuse, Ohio State next week. Let's do a little preview real quick. What's the point spread in the shoe? 20-point favorites in that one. We'll see if Syracuse can pull the big upset. Until next time, here's the Pesky Pole YouTube channel signing off. 1980 college football season replay.